It's the most incredible thing to leave your home planet behind and to go and, look at the Earth from space and look back on this beautiful planet we live on. So fully understandable.
What impact would it have had on his body? I mean, he is 90, bless him.
Yes, I mean, you're going to have some G-forces there with both the launch and the re-entry, although this is a suborbital spacecraft. So you're not going up to the full sort of G-forces that we would experience on re-entry from orbit. But it would still be a very exciting ride. And for somebody who's 90 years old, all credit to him. That's an incredible thing to put yourself through.
So what would you say to somebody like Prince William, who's being a bit critical about all of this at the moment? What is the point of this? Is it just, billionaires' playground?
Well, there's a number of things when you look at space and what we use space for and why we use space. Space is incredibly important to us right now. More than 50% of all of our climate change data comes from space-based assets. It's part of our critical national infrastructure. Everybody is using space on a daily basis, probably without even knowing it. But we need to use space sustainably. We need to consider the environment, absolutely. Now, when you look at rocket fuel, some of the best rocket fuel is liquid hydrogen and liquid oxygen, and the byproduct is water. And actually space has a very, very tiny impact on the environment, but that doesn't mean that we can't be better at it. I'm working with companies at the moment, such as Skyrora, which are developing EcoScene, an environmentally friendly fuel. You've got companies like SpaceX who are looking at sustainability, reusability, bringing down the cost of access to space, but also cleaning up space and making sure we protect it as an environment for our future generations. That means bringing down the debris that is already up there.
Yeah, I mean, that was part of the point you was making, wasn't it? The world's greatest brains should focus on saving the planet. You're saying they already are.
Well, people are doing as much as they can. It obviously needs everybody to collaborate and work together, and it needs everybody to be responsible. There's no point in just one small part of the industry or one small nation doing this. This needs to be a global effort to make sure that we protect space, we use it responsibly, and we clean up the mess that's already there. And companies are doing it. It's very much the focus at the moment on the future. It's very much the focus at COP26 for space-based companies as well. It's looking at how they can be more environmental and how we can clean up space.
Do you miss space?
I miss it hugely. I mean, there's not a day goes by when I don't think about that view of Earth from space. It's absolutely incredible. It's impossible to go into space and not for it to change your perspective. You see that thin strip of Earth's atmosphere. It's only 16 kilometers thick. And it makes you realize that is it. That's what differentiates us from Mars or Venus. And it's incredibly important that we protect that tiny strip of atmosphere.
Do you think you'll ever be able to go back?
I certainly hope so. My classmates at the European Space Agency are cycling through second missions. We have Thomas Pesquet from France up there right now. And so myself and Samantha Cristoforetti, Andreas Mogensen and Matthias Maurer are all in line, hopefully, for missions coming up in the future.
Yeah. In the meantime, then, you've been keeping yourself busy by writing, haven't you?
Yeah, well, I've always wanted to get involved in children's fiction books. Part of the mission was having a big outreach program. And I think through fiction, you can really reach a young audience and have a lot of fun at the same time. So I've been working with a brilliant writer, Steve Cole, and between us, we've come up with a book, Swarm Rising, which is out now. And it's all about alien intelligence coming to Earth, but not perhaps as you would expect it.
Yeah. When do you think we'll be on Mars?
I think moon is, certainly this decade, we're going to see a return to the moon, which is incredibly exciting. Mars, I think, is next decade. The 2030s is the focus on Mars.
It's interesting, isn't it, that we've not been to the moon for such a long time. And in fact, only 12 men, no women, were ever landed on the moon.
It is, absolutely. And this goes back a little bit to what we were talking about, commercialization of space, because, space is very difficult to get to. It's expensive. And so budgets are much, much smaller than they were in the Apollo era. And what we're doing on the International Space Station is an international collaboration, many member states doing that. And so by opening up low Earth orbit to commercial companies, it's freeing up the space agencies to be able to have the resources to go further afield and to go back to the moon. That's why we haven't been back to the moon, for so long. So this is why it's really exciting that we're now in this phase where, Europe is very much part of this effort of returning to the moon by the mid-2020s.